The cabinet has proposed a record-high defense budget, but will it hold in the face of an opposition-held legislature? What does the new UK Prime Minister's Taiwan policy look like? The answer is unclear, but his advisor's past may offer a clue. Local governments band together in a bid to increase efficiency amid political divides.
我们希望能够跨党派、跨地域、跨性别，放下不同的立场，坚持共同催生台湾地方政府联合会。
Plus, more Taiwanese than ever are choosing the single life. We take to the streets to find out why. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao. Taiwan has proposed a record defense budget for next year, but as Alan Liu reports, it might face challenges in the opposition-controlled legislature.
35 billion US dollars, a record amount Taiwan is proposing to spend on defense next year. Under NATO accounting standards, it would amount to 3.93% of GDP. That includes funds for the Defense Ministry itself, plus military pensions and defense-related spending by agencies such as the Coast Guard. The budget allocated to the Defense Ministry alone is about 4 billion US dollars higher than last year.
关于116年度我们的预算的亮点的部分有4项建构台湾之盾，打造无人战力，强化守备的一个战力及持续推动国建国造。
Taiwan's defense spending has risen steadily since 2018, with next year's proposed budget an 18% increase from 2026. That includes an additional 3 billion US dollars for military investment, 806 million for maintenance of ammunition and spare parts, as well as 228 million for personnel. Taiwan's military has been modernizing and shifting toward a more asymmetric defense posture in response to growing military pressure from China, which claims Taiwan as its own. But some analysts say next year's budget is still not certain, as the opposition-controlled legislature frequently clashes with the ruling party over defense spending.
The legislative yuan will be the biggest variable. We can see that the 2026 defense budget is projected to be around 3.32%. But this has significantly decreased after the opposition party removed some certain budget allocation.
Opposition lawmakers say concerns remain over delays in U.S. weapons deliveries. The latest budget proposal comes as the Defense Ministry says production delays will prevent the full delivery of 66 F-16 fighter jets by the end of this year, as originally scheduled. The government is now considering extending the delivery deadline.
它的发下书是在108年由国防部跟美军签署。今年年度结束之后，如果预算无法顺利肢解的话，我们将会依照预算法及各机关预算执行作业要点，呈报行政院来办理预算保留，来继续支用。
Lawmakers are also debating spending on drones, with the special procurement bill still deadlocked in the legislature and no cross-party consensus in sight. All of this is part of a broader debate over how much Taiwan should invest in its defense, as China continues to ramp up military pressure on the country. Lu Fili and Alan Liu for TaiwanPlus.
The Coast Guard says it shadowed a Chinese vessel and warned it away from Taiwan's restricted waters on Thursday night. The Chinese research vessel Tongji was spotted northwest of Huayu in Taiwan's offshore Penghu Islands. Media reports said it was suspected of conducting maritime surveillance. Chinese research vessels can collect environmental data, map the seabed, and identify undersea infrastructure, capabilities that may also have military applications. Taipei views such operations as part of Beijing's broader gray zone pressure campaign. This week marks 1 month since Andy Burnham took office as the UK's new Prime Minister. His foreign policy, including his approach to Taiwan, remains unclear, but some of his advisors have come under scrutiny over their past engagement with China. Our London correspondent Amelia Loy has the story.
Let us make this the moment when Britain starts to believe again. The moment we bring back hope. Thank you very much, everybody.
In the month since Andy Burnham replaced Keir Starmer as UK's Prime Minister, his main focus has been on the domestic economic challenges and expecting public hope he can solve. On matters further afield, his policy toward Taiwan remains unclear, but that has not come as a surprise to most UK foreign policy watchers.
It's clear that his priorities is trying to improve the economic situation in the UK. And regarding Taiwan, we haven't seen any kind of express of intention when it comes to Taiwan policy, but I don't think it would be too different from what is the Keir Starmer's line on Taiwan, which is they would try to avoid it. They would not want to provoke China per se. And I think this broadly fits our expectations when we know that Andy Burnham is coming into power.
Burnham's choice of advisors, however, has raised questions over how he may approach relations with China. One of his economic advisors, Jim O'Neill, has long advocated stronger UK-China trade ties. He coined the term "break" in the early 2000s, when he urged the West to engage with a rapidly emerging China. He was also closely involved in shaping the so-called golden era of UK-China relations under the previous Conservative government. O'Neill recently returned to the headlines after reports that he co-founded a new think tank last month with a former senior director at China's state news agency, Xinhua. O'Neill is not the only Burnham advisor facing scrutiny over alleged China links. National Security Advisor Jonathan Powell has also faced questions over his extensive engagement with Chinese officials and China-linked organizations. Last year, UK prosecutors dropped charges against 2 men accused of spying for China. It was suggested that Powell, who was serving as National Security Advisor at the time, played a key role in undermining the prosecution. Although Downing Street denied any involvement in the collapse of the case, it still raised concerns over national security.
These two individuals, they have strong Chinese links, have been exposed to United Front work activities knowingly or unknowingly. They will be more inclined to facilitate agendas that are more in China interests, and that will reduce the friction they encounter in the geopolitical scene.
Burnham himself also promoted stronger economic ties with China in his former role as mayor of Manchester. This has led some observers to expect him to continue his predecessor Keir Starmer's approach of deepening trade ties with China. But one expert we spoke to urged UK policymakers to stand firm on certain principles and push back against Beijing, including issues concerning the Taiwan Strait.
So yes, the UK can and will pursue more trade opportunities with China, but at the same time, upholding the status quo in the Taiwan Strait has to be a top priority, because that is the basis of the UK's economic engagement with the region, and it's also the basis of stability and prosperity globally. So any change to that, as China is trying to do at the moment, should be taken very seriously by the UK government and should be responded to, asserting the UK's interest in the status quo.
There are significant challenges ahead for the new Prime Minister in managing the UK-China relationship, including the controversial Chinese super embassy project in London and Chinese firm Mingyang's blocked plan to build the UK's largest wind turbine factory. Both could be early tests of how Burnham balances his push for economic engagement with China against national security concerns. Amelia Loy in London for TaiwanPlus.
2 prominent activists have been convicted in Hong Kong for organizing vigils for the victims of China's 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown. Human rights lawyer Chao Hang-tung and former opposition lawmaker Lee Cheuk-yan face up to 10 years in jail. They were convicted for inciting subversion under national security laws imposed on Hong Kong by Beijing in 2020. Chao and Lee led a now disbanded civil group that held the only large-scale memorials for the massacre's victims for decades. Those vigils were banned in 2020. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, which handles relations with Beijing, says the verdict shows China continues to use the courts as a tool of political repression and called for their immediate release. Japan has executed a man convicted of killing 5 people in a 2009 arson attack in Osaka. Japan's Justice Ministry says Takami Tsunao has been hanged. Takami set fire to a pachinko parlor, killing 5 people and injuring 10. The execution is the first since Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi Sanae came to power. It comes amid renewed domestic and international criticism of Japan's secretive capital punishment system. There are currently 100 people on death row in the country. Taiwan and Lithuania have agreed to jointly provide another round of aid to Ukraine. The agreement was signed on Tuesday by Taiwan's representative office in Vilnius and Lithuania's Central Project Management Agency. Each side will contribute $5 million to support Ukraine's reconstruction and strengthen its social resilience. It's the third joint aid package from the two countries since 2023. Previous projects have helped rebuild schools, fund remedial education, and establish a rehabilitation center offering counseling and job support. More than 1,000 Ukrainian children have benefited from these initiatives. World-renowned Grand Kyiv Ballet is making its Taiwan debut. As Irene Lin reports, the touring company hopes to show Ukraine's resilience through art.
Showing off masterful footwork, these are dancers from the internationally acclaimed Grand Kyiv Ballet from Ukraine, preparing to stage Swan Lake in Taipei this weekend. On the day of their first ever show in Taiwan, the dancers reveal how they cope with the war back home as they tour.
We need to live this role on the stage, and it's such an interesting, and in the same time difficult part of your work.
The company's founder says a friend back in Ukraine told him of another airstrike on the night of the opening show, reminding him of the time when they had to rehearse in other countries to avoid the war.
We have a base in Poland, and also we have one base in the United States. We try to practice outside of Ukraine, and it's more safety for the dancers and for their families.
Taking on the central dual role of the White Swan and the Black Swan is Tamai Chihiro from Japan. She says the war has made practicing a big challenge, but she has figured out her own approach to perfecting the role.
When I play White Swan or Black Swan, I never try to become White Swan or Black Swan, because I think every person now has different faces. Some faces which is similar to White Swan, and I have some faces which is more similar to Black Swan.
Grand Kyiv Ballet will perform at the Taipei Performing Arts Center from Friday to Sunday, carrying Ukraine's resilience onto the local stage. Howard Zhang and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Stick with us here on TaiwanPlus News, because coming up after the break, meet the first Taiwanese woman to compete in jiu-jitsu at the Asian Games.
For more stories from Taiwan and Manila, visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow us on our social media.
Is there a place you've been searching for?
We bring you stories
not just to Taiwan,
exploring the issues that matter to you.
This is a journey that will move you. Our stories are all connected. TaiwanPlus.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, download the TaiwanPlus app and follow us on social media.
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. Taiwan is looking to deepen international ties in its chip industry as it gears up to hold its largest semiconductor industry event, SEMICON.
所以我们也希望能够透过相关学员的平台，一起来协助国际大厂能够在台落地。那在这个在台落地的过程中呢，自然有很多的机会。
SEMICON officials say having international companies set up shop in Taiwan can help boost local R&D and manufacturing, strengthening local suppliers. They say Taiwan has many so-called hidden champions in the tech supply chain that could benefit from working with global partners.
我们发现台湾其实太多隐形冠军，尤其在材料业，因为有很多它不是特别的。 几百亿、几千亿，不是这么特别大的公司，但它的那个独门武功，它可能就是那个领域里面的这个champion，但它不见得被看到。
SEMICON Taiwan runs September 2nd to the 4th at Taipei Nangang Exhibition Center. Now, what if Taiwan's biggest cities had a platform to work together on issues that cross borders and political lines? A government-backed nonprofit is proposing just that, hoping to bridge Taiwan's political divide and make local government more effective. Tiffany Wong has more.
Standing side by side, representatives from 4 of Taiwan's main cities announce a new alliance that they hope will transform local governance. The initiative is supported by the government-funded nonprofit Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, which is chaired by Legislative Speaker Han Kuo-yu. It's a cross-party effort designed to bridge Taiwan's deepening political divide.
我们希望能够跨党派、跨地域、跨性别，放下不同的立场，坚持共同催生台湾地方政府联合会。
Besides addressing coordination issues domestically, the association will also serve as a platform for local governments to engage in city diplomacy, connecting Taiwan with the world. Foreign Minister Lin Jialong, whose ministry oversees the nonprofit, also voiced his support.
我们在推动总和外交，那里面也有包括城市外交、NGO 外交等等。那如果总部设在这里，那当然民主基金会作为一个跟全球民主治理。 这个交流很重要的一个平台。
The foundation said similar local government alliances already exist in countries like Japan, South Korea, and the United States. It said Taiwan's new association could work with them in the future. Taipei Mayor Jiang Wan-an said the alliance could help cities facing similar challenges.
所以现在面对不管极端气候、防灾的韧性、少子化、高龄化，又或者是 AI 所带来新形态的治理模式。 产业转型都不再只是单一个城市可以自己来面对、处理这样的挑战。
For now, the alliance includes Taipei, New Taipei, Taichung, and Taoyuan. But the local leaders gathered here hope their group can soon expand to include all the cities and counties across Taiwan. Patrick Chen and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
From saving cash to keeping their freedom, a growing number of adults in Taiwan are skipping the dating scene and choosing the single life. Reese Ayers has more.
There's a popular phrase in Taiwan, 脱单. It literally means shed your singleness, to get hitched. But data shows many in Taiwan are holding on to singlehood for life. A survey by Academia Sinica, Taiwan's top research institute, shows that among unmarried adults aged 27 and over, around 30% have never been in a relationship, with an additional 40% saying they were currently single, with no significant differences between men and women. So, what's keeping people off the market?
第一个是缺钱吧，因为谈恋爱需要钱。就是大家觉得单身比较自由自在，对，就不会想要被另一半束缚。 对啊，我觉得越年纪越大越会这样想。
希望自己可以等自己的事业比较成功的时候，再去交另外一半。
From busy work schedules to the rising cost of living, the reasons vary. The reality on the ground is hard to ignore. Many just don't have the time or energy for dating.
The bigger question isn't why are people staying single, it's what does it mean for Taiwan's future? With one of the lowest birth rates in the world, less relationships means less families.
To try and fight the demographic crisis, the government has introduced incentives, from cash subsidies for newborns to reserved social housing for newlyweds. But experts say the root cause is that people aren't pairing up in the first place.
很多的婚姻让他们看起来不快乐，那么年轻，结了婚，生了孩子都被绑住，要不然就是很快就离婚了，所以对婚姻就有恐惧。
For others, the issue isn't so much a fear of marriage, it's that marriage, or having kids, is no longer seen as essential to a fulfilling life.
真正不想结婚是年轻人对未来他有不同的看法，他会觉得我把一个人自己照顾好就好了。
As modern priorities shift, being single is no longer just a phase. For many, it's becoming a permanent way of life. Klein Wang and Ri says for TaiwanPlus.
The Asian Games are approaching, and in a first, a Taiwanese woman is getting ready to compete in jiu-jitsu. Our reporter Bryn Thomas caught up with Sun Yuqin ahead of the Games to find out how she feels about flying the flag for Taiwan and women in the sport.
Shen Yuqin, aka Bella, is treading a new path for women in Taiwan, one that's leading her onto the mats in Japan. After years of training and competition, she'll soon be the first Taiwanese woman to compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the Asian Games.
练着练着之后就开始参加比赛，然后也觉得自己对选手这一条路开始产生兴趣，所以就很荣幸的可以站上这一次的亚运。对。
Shen hails from Tainan in southern Taiwan and began her career training near her home and soon fell in love with a sport where technique trumps brute strength.
说已经是算是年龄比较高一点点，有些时候梦想就是梦想很慢实现，但是这是一个很难得、很需要好好把握的机会。
Although competitors can win a jiu-jitsu match by controlling dominant positions, the ultimate objective is forcing a submission through joint locks or strangulation. The intense physical friction, heavy body contact, sweat, and grueling training can present a high barrier to entry. As with most combat sports, jiu-jitsu remains heavily male-dominated, but female athletes like Shen are a growing presence in Taiwan's quickly growing scene.
那这不只代表呢，在台湾练柔术的女性人口到达一定程度，而且在专业技术上也已经到达了亚洲顶尖的一个竞技水准。柔术是一个用技术、用技巧去磨练的一个运动，所以呢，女性呢不会让男性专美于前，他们靠着自己的累积的经验跟智慧，自己专属的一片天地。
Ahead of the Asian Games, Shen and Taiwan's national team, which includes several up-and-coming women, are training at UFC Gym in Taipei, honing their skills before stepping onto the world stage.
亚运这个赛事跟我们一般参加的柔术赛事会有不同，因为现在就变成不是一直只有对练，现在开始就是要从我自己最弱的地方。当然，我们会接收到很多教练的建议，对，那每个这样的建议对我来说是很好的。
过他一次可以的，没问题，来压好，压好。
Shen's primary coach, Andy Chan of Kailan BJJ, and head national team coach, Will Tseng, have been working together to prepare her for the Games.
我们从去年亚锦赛的约旦开始，每周6日都会在 UFC Gym 这边有练习，然后我们也会一起研究，然后我也跟他的教练 Andy 有非常紧密的合作。
Tseng, a student of legendary black belt Marcelo Garcia, draws from his master's lessons when addressing the mental hurdles Shen will face in Japan.
他的说法是你要去接受这个紧张，因为紧张代表说你是准备好的，你要利用这个紧张让你的表现可以更好。当你紧张的时候，你的肾上腺素会往上，你的体温会上升，你的身体会准备好进入一个战斗的状态。
Shen Yuqin appears composed in the run-up to the Games, lifting and rolling and alternating hard and soft days, ready to take on her opponents and carry the flag for Taiwanese women in the sport.
当然，你说跟男性运动员比较的话，柔术的女生还是相对的能见度比较少一点点，对，所以我觉得。如果能透过这一次我站上亚运的舞台，如果能让更多的女生喜欢跟加入的话，那我觉得这是一件很有意义的事情。
In late September, Shen will step onto the mats at the Aichi Budokan to take her shot. It's a chance to represent her country, inspire Taiwan's growing population of female martial artists, and live out her dream.
我觉得它不是压力，对，因为我觉得。 就是一个机会，对，就是 it's my dream, yeah.
Eason Chen and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
4 of Taiwan's Asian Games boxers are competing in the Taipei City Cup Invitational Tournament this week. Up-and-comer Peng Jiafeng won his first bout on Thursday.
我现在才19岁，虽然我自己觉得是说我还很年轻，然后不能给我自己的压力太大。虽然我自己很想赢，然后也很想帮就是台湾拿亚运的奖牌，对，但是我自己把这次当作放轻松，然后正常发挥，把平常练习的东西打出来，这样。
Peng defeated Australia's Dane Malcolm Bolt by unanimous decision in the men's 50 to 55 kilogram weight class. The tournament, which ends Sunday, is a last chance for Taiwan's hopefuls to sharpen their skills before the Asian Games next month in Aichi, Nagoya, Japan. Huang Xiaowen, who won a bronze medal for Taiwan at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, says her preparations are on track.
目前备战的状态就是把自己的状态先调到最好了，对。然后因为不管是体重控制啊，或者是一些技术体能，都还是目前都是维持。然后可能在最后我们才会再去针对说轻收的对手，然后再去在最后的阶段去做一些针对性的模拟，对。
The 2026 Asian Games will take place from late September to early October. And thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally, we take you to South Korea, where pet owners are turning to tarot cards to understand their pets. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.